not playing good. We're not a good team right now. We can be a good team. I'm not even going to talk about anything positive, but there are things if you want to look at them. But we just got to everybody just sit here and grab a hold, get back, and let's see if we can't do better and win some games.
Stephen A., in all seriousness, was it right for Jerry to speak up for the players and coaches in that setting?
No, it wasn't. It's typical Jerry Jones, though. He wants to show his loyalty. That's one of the reasons he's having a problem with Roger Goodell right now, because of the blind loyalty that he shows occasionally, and more importantly, what he thinks should be reciprocated no matter what, because that's just his style. At the end of the day, what this really comes down to is an absence of accountability on the part of Jerry Jones that has been a part of his resume since Jimmy Johnson departed, and since Barry Switzer followed up by winning a Super Bowl championship a couple of seasons later. The reality is that there's no accident that the Dallas Cowboys have been winless really when it counts since 1995, because they have an owner who wins headlines. They have an owner who's a business and marketing genius. They have an individual who also goes about the business of ingratiating himself with players to such a degree that he has a very tough time attaching accountability to them, so long as they work hard and show the level of loyalty to him and to the organization that he would like them to show. And winning does appear to be the priority. It's just undeniable. Look at the coaches that he's had. Look at how long they've stayed on board. Look at what he has tolerated. Look at the whole situation with Tony Romo, who I want to emphasize again is doing an absolutely phenomenal job broadcasting. He is really good and deserves our credit. And even as an NFL quarterback, he could really get some stuff done. He was a very talented quarterback. He was no scrub, but he didn't get it done. He didn't win. And when Dak Prescott came on the scene last year, Jerry Jones did everything he could to hold on for dear life to the potential return of Tony Romo, because he loved this guy that much. These are the kind of things that Jerry Jones does. He actually allows his emotions and his feelings to get in the way of productivity on the business side of things. He's not the only person who does that. It's not criminal for him to do it. But what is criminal is for how long he's been doing it, much to his chagrin and much to his lack of benefit. The Dallas Cowboys have 2 playoff victories since 1995. I'm not laughing, I'm not joking, I'm not playing around now when I say that. I do have fun with them. But can we put that in perspective, please? 2 playoff victories in 23 years. That is beyond embarrassing, particularly for a team that calls itself America's team, and particularly for a franchise and an owner in Jerry Jones that seems to have a problem with folks the likes of Robert Kraft, who's got 5 championships on his resume at this particular juncture in this millennium. So I think about those things, and I said this goes right back to Jerry Jones. It's not good that he spoke up, because it gives the impression to the guys, it's all right, you're losing, but I'm still with you. And maybe, just maybe, to point to what Max was alluding to earlier with the Parcells, the Jimmy Johnsons of the world, people like that. Do you really think those players would be comfortable and left to feel good if they lost 3 straight and got annihilated 2 straight weeks? You really think that the Parcells and the Jimmy Johnsons would be okay with that? No, but Jerry Jones is.
Well, let's look at the 3 biggest. But I think it was fine for him to stand up for his players, by the way. I think players like it when they get a vote of confidence.
Who cares what they like?
The owner will stick up for them, because that's significant, because he's not the coach. If the coach is taking care of you when you quit in the press, that's not always a great thing. But he's not the coach. He's the owner of the franchise. Now, I think of the 3 biggest brands in American team sports history. The 3 biggest brands. In baseball, there's the Yankees. In basketball, there's the Lakers. In football, there's the Cowboys, right? Of those 3 brands, the ownership responsible for the success in recent times, most responsible, is Steinbrenner with the Yankees, obviously Dr. Jerry Buss with the Lakers, and Jerry Jones with the Cowboys. If you had to list them in order, Jerry Jones comes in a distant third, right? A distant third. But when you look at Steinbrenner and Dr. Jerry Buss, Buss comes in ahead of Steinbrenner. He won more, right? He just did. And I recall Steinbrenner constantly in the clubhouse, getting on his players in the media, showing up and coming to the clubhouse to if they had a bad game, and kind of scolding them and stuff. So when I was out in L.A. doing radio, Stephen, I noticed Dr. Buss showed up. The Lakers were scuffling a little bit. It was a little later in the season. It was the Dwight Howard year, I believe. And he shows up and he's around practice. So I asked him about it. I said, I noticed you showed up because I'm expecting the Steinbrenner thing. Well, when the team really is starting to collapse, I got to show up and kick everyone's rear end into gear, right? No, Dr. Buss says, I showed up because I want to let these guys know I'm here for them. I know we're scuffling right now. Anything they need from me, let me know. It was the difference between Buss and Steinbrenner, and Buss was the better, more successful owner. So I don't know that it's accountability on the part of the owner to the players. That's really the coaching staff's job. What the players need to know is, Jerry Jones's loyalty sometimes, and I'm glad you come around to my way of thinking about it, Stephen A., because I've been harping on that. His obsession with this idea of loyalty. He's loyal to others. He expects it reciprocated in kind. And there are drawbacks to it. But in this case, I don't think that's an example of it. I think in this case, if anything, that will have a positive effect, and certainly not a negative one. Just knowing, hey, the owner is sticking up for us. Even when we're not playing well, the owner, not the coach, the owner is saying, hey, we're going to be okay. That's got to be good for the players. That's going to want to make players play for you, not have the reverse effect.
A couple of points. Number one, I don't have to come around to your way of thinking. I come around to my own thinking, and I've expressed my, well, you weren't listening for the 3 years that I was on TV being number one before you arrived. The fact is, I've been saying those things about Jerry Jones. You just weren't watching because you were asleep in L.A. at that particular moment in time. It was 7 in the morning. The sun shining in California.
Saying it's too early in the morning?
So you were chilling. You were chilling at that particular, because you had an afternoon show, not a morning show. That's number one. Number two, your point would be valid if we were talking about any other owner other than Jerry Jones. You are right theoretically. You are right when you bring up the Steinbrenner Jerry Buss comparison. But we're talking about Jerry Jones here. We're talking about somebody who's the owner, who's the president, who's the GM, and basically has been accused of being the de facto coach because of the puppet strings he pulls from time to time. And so because we're taking Jerry Jones into consideration, we're not talking about an owner per se. You're right about owners. We're talking about Jerry Jones because most owners don't do what he has done historically and religiously. And because of that, that's why you hold him accountable in terms of saying it wasn't right for him to speak up, because the way he is and the way he has been, they almost feel like they don't have to be accountable to Jason Garrett at all. As long as Jerry Jones is in the locker room after every game, they're more concerned about how he feels than the damn coach. That's the problem.
Look, Jerry Jones is the problem on the Cowboys if you define the problem as not having playoff runs and really Super Bowl challenges in the last 25 years. And I think that is the problem with the Cowboys, right? Of course, we agree that Jerry Jones is the problem. The question is specifically, when is he a problem? And in this case, standing up for his players, I don't think the players are sitting there going, well, we don't have to play now for Garrett because Jerry Jones gave us a vote of confidence. I don't think that's the issue. Now, you're arguing that it's symptomatic of a larger issue, which is any coach that coaches for Jerry Jones is going to be undermined somewhat, have their authority undermined somewhat by the owner. About that, we agree. Of course, there's no way to argue that. Jerry Jones's presence there, everyone knows, ultimately, if you can appeal to him, he's going to have his way, except for player personnel, a bit Stephen Jones has been having his way in recent years.
At the end of the day, at least he's consistent, though, right? Jerry always finds the mic, like a dog sniffing a bone.
You could say that, but Max is funny. The question was Jones right to speak up on the team's behalf? Max said, you're debating when. So Max changes the narrative, okay? You created a different question than was being asked. This is what you do.
Max is good at the spin. He knows how to spin
no, because, you try to spin it. The difference is LeBron's a champion.
The best in the world, and I control the narrative.
LeBron's a champion, and he's the best in the world who tries to control the narrative. You try to control the